What's up guys, the Lazy Goldmaker here with another video. In this one I thought I'd take a look at the TSM 4.11 and some of the new stuff that's come with the new version, because of course finally with TSM 4.11 we have full support for two things that it's been missing throughout Shadowlands, and that's optional reagents and it's the different ranks of legendaries. Both of those are now supported, and we'll take a look at how it works, and there's some small pitfalls and issues that that you may want to be aware of. So let's dive in and take a look. We'll take a look at let's take a look at legendaries first. So now this is how it looks now. You can pick whatever rank you want to craft, and it will track items. So if I hover over this Shadowghast Armguard's rank 4s, it'll tell me that I have one rank 4 Shadowghast Armguard. The crafting cost for a rank 4 Shadowghast Armguard is 18,000 gold, and it works. It just works. What that means is you can now use the crafting cost for all of your legendaries. So I made a very elaborate setup for this, where I essentially manually implemented the full price for each of these items, but you don't have to do that anymore. You can just base it on crafting, 120% crafting min price. All of that jazz, it works super well. So that's very, very nice. It saves you a lot of time. You can also queue up different ranks. Let's say I want to craft 5 rank 4s and then 5 rank 3s, and then I want to craft 5 rank 4s here, and now I have the crafting queue and I can craft with the crafting queue. Saves you a ton of time. You can also obviously do this using crafting operations if you want to restock. So you do not have to play around with a legendary stock tracker anymore. You can use crafting operations that will restock every legendary up to a specific number, which is obviously going to be very helpful because there's a lot of items here to keep track of. So that's the basic legendary stuff. And then in addition to this, we also have support for optional reagents in multiple different ways. So obviously you can pick optional reagents here, like I can add a Vestige of Origins if I wanted to make a rank 5 or 6 legendary. Obviously you can queue these as well, and they will be crafted. They will be crafted with the Craft Next button. You can do the same with the Crafter's Mark gear, that you may want to use Crafter's Mark of the Chain Dial or Crafter's Mark 3 to craft blacksmithing gear or jewel crafting gear or any of it. And it has the full crafting cost. So this is the base item, I think, 1200 gold crafting cost. Let's see if we add the Crafter's Mark of the Chain Dial. The Crafter's Mark cost is now 6,400 gold because I have a Crafter's Mark of the Chain Dial here. Now, there is one issue with this, with the optional reagent crafting cost. It's not the crafting itself. The crafting itself works perfectly, but TSM assumes that you're using the crafter's marks from the same profession, which means that any blacksmithing item, if you craft a crafter's mark of the chain dial item from blacksmithing, and you use the crafting price source as the basis for an operation for posting that to the auction house, it's going to assume that you have crafted the crafter's marks with blacksmithing, regardless of what combination of professions you have. This is not a huge issue when it comes to my blacksmith jewel crafter, because blacksmithing and jewel crafting crafter's marks cost virtually the same thing. And the vestiges as well are very, very close, because 95% of the cost is from the Korthite crystals anyway. But it is a real issue on my other crafter, on my Tailoring jewel crafter, and I'll show you right here, because I have a lot of shadow lace tailoring. We have a lot of shadow lace stuff here, and the problem here, if you'll take a look at the crafting cost breakdown in the tooltip here, you'll see the Crafter's Mark 3 part is 1200 gold. But I craft these on my tailored leatherworking, and I'm crafting the Crafter's Marks with my leatherworker, and the Crafter's Marks from leatherworking are about 600-700 gold worth of materials, and TSM doesn't know that, and that's actually a pretty large issue. Now, I have found a solution to this problem. It's not particularly elegant, but it will work. So what you need to make it work is you need to find the crafting cost, or the item ID, I should say, of the base item, the item level 151 version of the item. So what I've done here, if I'll show you here, I have a custom source that that's called SL Cuffs Crafting, and then I173222. When we got the 173222 is from here, from the Shadow Lace Cuffs. This is just the base version. And this actually equals the crafting cost of the 151 bracers. And then I could now go and make a operation specifically for tailoring bracers. So what it would look like would be something like this. Blah, blah, blah. Min price is going to be 120%. SL Cuffs plus LE Mark III. So I already have custom sources. I made custom sources for all of the various crafters marks. So this is now going to be with leatherworking Mark III. The LW Mark III is up here, as well as the LW Mark chained. And then obviously I just make the for the higher rank. What did I call this operation? Did I even call it anything? New operation, I presume. SL Cuffs Mark III. So I would then need to make one operation each for each armor slot and Crafter's Mark type. So I would need 8 operations for tailoring Crafter's Mark III items. I would need another 8, or actually 9 if we include the cape, another 9 operations for the Crafter's Marks with the Crafter's Mark of the chain dial. So this is very annoying, but for items like this, where the price difference is this large between the Crafter's Marks, this is sadly the only way. Now, there's one other thing to be aware of, and that's if you have your crafters and your posters on separate accounts. This is not going to be relevant to too many of you, but it's relevant to me because I have 2 accounts, and my Blacksmith Jewel Crafter is on my other account from the one I'm posting these from. And what does that mean? It means that TSM doesn't actually know the crafting cost, including the Crafter's Mark for my blacksmithing and jewel crafting stuff. So for this item level 200 versatile selenium ring, TSM assumes that this is just a item level 151 version and has the same cost. So this is the crafting cost here is 72 gold. The actual cost of crafting this is obviously much higher because I need to craft a Crafter's Mark III. So to deal with this, we do it the same way we did back with the Crafter's Mark II before TSM supported this. Which is actually a lot easier because you get away with 1 operation per Crafter's Mark level. So I have this one for Crafter's Mark 3, and since I used the jewel crafting mark for both blacksmithing and jewel crafting, we can use the same operation for all of them. And it's the same basic idea. The crafting cost of the item plus the crafting cost of the jewel crafters, or the Crafter's Mark. You use that in all of the prices, and then you set your price levels accordingly, and then obviously the exact same thing for the chain dial Crafter's Mark crafting plus JC Mark chained. So that works really well, and then obviously we can see that this group is added to 3 groups of chain dial gear, which is going to be plate armor, necklaces, and rings. And the same here, it's going to be plate armor, necklaces, and rings for the CM3 JC. So that's how you deal with it. So the biggest issue is if you have multiple accounts, and it's going to be a little bit annoying to, or actually then you have to set up these custom sources, which I have written a post about. I'll give you all of them. You can just import the custom sources directly, and then you just need to make operations based on whatever is cheapest for your combinations of crafters. The much more annoying part is going to be stuff like if you're like me and have a tailoring leatherworker, where one set of Crafter's Marks is significantly more expensive than the others, which I'll eventually have to make these operations. I haven't even made them myself yet. I've literally just been figuring out how to do it. It's very annoying because you're gonna end up with about 8 or 9 crafting operations for that profession, to make sure that it uses the actually cheapest Crafter's Mark instead of the most expensive one. Of course, outside of that, you just want to get crafting with these items because they are flying off the shelves. Both Crafter's Mark 3, Chain Dial, and of course Vestiges of Origins are flying off the shelves. The same thing as I showed you with the Crafter's Marks. It's going to be the same thing for the Vestiges. So if you're selling rank 5 and 6 legendaries, they're going to pick. For tailoring items, it's going to pick the tailoring vestige regardless of how expensive or cheap that is, regardless of which 2 professions you have on that character. So you may have to make your own operations again, and this would again leave you with having to make specific operations for every item. So you'd need, like what I have here, a bunch of different rank 5 operations. This is what I did anyway, because I already had the mathed out the entire crafting cost, which will leave you with needing 1 crafting or 1 operation for every every tier of item cost, if you need to change. But you do only have to do that for 1 profession, most likely, because it's really only tailoring that's typically much more expensive than the others. And for stuff like blacksmithing, jewel crafting, leatherworking, the cost is generally so close that even though it's going to be slightly wrong, it's not going to matter enough to be something you have to deal with. So yeah, hopefully you learned a little bit about how you can utilize TSM with the new support for crafted or for optional reagent and multiple rank items, and you can get this done easily and smoothly with TSM using some of the tips I showed you. And yeah, hopefully you liked the video. Leave a like, leave a comment down below if there's something I was not clear enough on. And we'll see you on the next video. Goodbye, guys.